At 6:42 a.m. local time, just off the coast of Somalia, 5 men in a battered fiberglass skiff throttle forward through choppy water. There's no flag on the boat, there's no name, no AIS signal, just a small outboard motor, 2 fuel cans, and a crude aluminum ladder laid across the bow. The men on board aren't fishermen. They're armed, moving fast, and aiming for a silhouette on the horizon. To them, it looks like a cargo ship. Slow, gray, probably unescorted. The kind of vessel that usually folds under pressure. What they don't know, however, is that they're speeding toward a U.S. Navy destroyer. From their position, the angles hide the ship's gun mounts. The radar dome? Just a weird-looking container. The aft helicopter hangar? Looks like stacked cargo to me. But behind that steel is 9,000 tons of American firepower and a crew that's done this dance before. And right now, every camera on that ship is watching. No warning shot, no flares, just optics, sensors, and silence. On board the destroyer, the captain watches the feed. Fast-moving, low-profile craft, no flags, no comms, no hesitation. Someone whispers on the bridge, "Please let them turn around." They don't. Instead, the boat accelerates, riding low, nose up, charging full speed at what they still believe is an easy target. For the next 14 minutes, the U.S. Navy will demonstrate how to win a fight without even pulling the trigger. The destroyer's bridge is quiet, but every crew member is locked in. The officer of the deck leans over to the comms panel. "Bridge to CIC. We have a fast-approaching contact bearing 118. Estimate CPA under 3 nautical miles. Time to intercept 10 minutes. Down in the Combat Information Center, sailors are already tracking the skiff. They don't need radar, they can see it. Electro-optical sensors are active. High-res visuals confirm 5 men, armed, no life vests, no fishing gear. One of them is holding what looks like an AK. Another oddly keeps pointing at the ship through binoculars. This isn't a casual drift, it's an intercept run. Rules of engagement phase 1 is declared. Cameras track the boat's every move. Electronic warfare systems go into passive scan mode, listening, not speaking. 50 caliber stations on the destroyer's deck remain unmanned, but crews are alerted and waiting. From the captain, maintain course, no aggressive action. Let them show intent. The destroyer adjusts heading by 5 degrees, just enough to control the closing angle. Subtle, deliberate. The crew knows the drill. De-escalation, unless provoked. They've seen this before. Small boats testing boundaries. Sometimes it's just fishermen drifting too close. But this feels a little coordinated. Skiff holds course, still accelerating. White spray kicks off the bow as it skips across the water. Now just 2.2 nautical miles out. And then, 2 more blips appear in the corner of the camera's frame. 2 additional skiffs, coming in wide, trailing behind. New contacts, bearing 105 and 132. Estimate coordinated movement. This isn't a robbery. It's a swarm tactic. Classic pirate maneuver. The destroyer's crew locks eyes on the screens. No panic, just procedure. They've got 10 minutes to control the situation. And upstairs, somebody's already unlocking the Seahawk hangar. The order is calm but absolute. Launch the Seahawk, maintain observation, no direct overflight. Within seconds, the flight crew scrambles towards the helicopter bay. The MH-60R Seahawk, a twin-engine workhorse loaded with sensors, flares, and attitude, sits fueled and ready to go. This isn't a combat loadout. There's no torpedoes, no hellfires, just optics, radar, and enough presence to change someone's mind. The rotors begin to spin. The Seahawk lifts off with a sharp pivot, nose low, rotors chopping the early morning air. Within 30 seconds, it's airborne and angling to intercept from the east. From the sky, the picture becomes clear. 3 skiffs, low profile, narrow hulls, each with 2 to 5 men on board. Loose formation, classic pincher spread. 1 in the center, the other 2 flanking. Poor radio discipline, no coordination, but the timing is tight, too tight to be random. From 800 feet up, the Seahawk's camera captures the scene in 4K thermal. Weapons, ladders, no fishing gear, no crates. This is not a misidentified crew of smugglers, it's a boarding team. Back on the destroyer, deck crew lock eyes with the video stream. The bridge crew isn't flinching. Nobody is shouting, they don't need to. One sailor calmly says, "They think we're a freighter." Another answers, "They're about to meet the Navy." On cue, the Seahawk's spotlight clicks on and sweeps across the lead skiff. No sound, just a blinding beam that lands directly in the boat operator. He flinches, raises a hand to block the light. Another man stands up, shouting, waving his arms. The boat begins to veer slightly. Then a second spotlight swings over the right side skiff. 2 boats in a holding pattern, one onshore, one still pushing forward. The Seahawk holds altitude, tail to the wind, optics locked in. Nobody's fired a shot, but the message is crystal clear. We see you. We're faster, and we're waiting. From the air, it's obvious. One of the skiffs isn't backing off. The lead boat, now just under 1.5 nautical miles from the destroyer, suddenly breaks formation. It surges forward, carving hard toward the bow of the Navy ship. A wake fans out behind it, loud enough for the Seahawk crew to hear it through their helmets. Inside the Combat Information Center, the tone shifts a little. CPA now under 1.2 nautical miles, time to intercept 3 minutes. The destroyer responds fast and sharp. Long-range acoustic device, or LRAD, goes active. It emits a deafening warning tone aimed directly at the skiff, a focused wall of sound that disorients and overwhelms. It hits. The man on the bow stumbles. Another scrambles to hold the engine housing as the boat rocks violently in the chop. Still, no weapons raised. No shots fired. But tension? Maxed out. On the flight deck, the Seahawk's sensor operator flips a toggle. A bright green laser pulses from the helicopter, landing directly on the skiff's deck. Not a weapon, just a non-lethal laser marker that says, "We're watching you, don't push it." Then comes the second warning flare, fired from the destroyer's starboard launcher. It arcs wide, burning red against the pale sky, hissing as it falls. This time, it works. The skiff hesitates, its engines throttle down, sputtering between power cycles. The bow dips into a swell. One pirate still standing throws up both hands, palms out, universal maritime code for no threat. The second skiff pulls away. Now only one remains, the flanker, holding position about 2,000 meters out. They haven't advanced. They haven't retreated. They're just sitting there waiting to see what happens next. The destroyer doesn't blink. Cameras stay locked, EW systems still tracking, bridge still silent, but the message has certainly landed. 3 skiffs came looking for an easy target. Now, one is drifting, one is running, and one is thinking very, very hard. The pirates haven't fired, neither has the Navy. But there's no confusion left about what kind of ship they just tried to approach. And the next move isn't theirs anymore. At 7:01 a.m., the situation shifts. The skiff that made the aggressive move is now drifting, its engine idling low, bow facing away from the destroyer. On board the bridge, the captain doesn't celebrate. He watches, waits. Everyone does. The second boat, the right flanker, begins turning east. Not a hard turn, but just enough to signal withdrawal. Slow, careful, like they're trying not to provoke chase. Visual confirmation, course change, speed down to 12 knots, reports the Seahawk crew. The third skiff, the one that held back, finally throttles down and arcs southward. No comms, no flares, just silent retreat. From the helicopter, it is clear that the triangle is breaking. Below, the destroyer's deck crew stays at stations. 50 caliber gunners remain in position. CIC continues logging every second of sensor footage, thermal, optic, and acoustic. This isn't about revenge, it's about record. Everything the Navy does is timed, stamped, documented. If this turns into an investigation or, worse, a legal case, the Navy doesn't argue. It plays back the tape. By 7:04 a.m., the nearest skiff is 2 nautical miles and fading. No return path, no circling back. The Seahawk maintains altitude, holding a steady loop above the area, its optics still locked in. The destroyer doesn't move aggressively. It doesn't pursue because it doesn't have to. Presence was the weapon, posture was the message, and restraint was the win. The engagement ends without a trigger pull, not because the pirates surrendered, but because they realized a little too late who they were dealing with. The Gulf of Aden is one of the busiest and most dangerous shipping lanes in the world. It's a narrow funnel between the Arabian Sea and the Red Sea, with over 20,000 ships passing through every year. You got oil tankers, freighters, container ships, all easy targets, and pirates know it. But piracy today isn't like the Hollywood version, with eye patches, parrots, and muskets. It's fast boats, satellite phones, AKs, and GPS. And it's big business. At one point, Somali piracy was a multi-million-dollar industry. Some attacks ended in hijackings, others in ransom deals worth millions. So how does the U.S. Navy handle all that? They don't chase pirates, they deter them. This destroyer, like many in the region, is part of a combined task force, which is Task Force 151, a multinational naval group with one goal: counter piracy. Alongside ships from NATO, the EU, and other allies, these warships patrol key choke points and high-risk zones, projecting presence where it matters. Why is that effective? Because pirates work on perception. They don't want to fight a warship, they want to scare a freighter. But from 10 nautical miles out, a Navy destroyer and a cargo ship can look very similar. Tall profile, gray hull, containers on deck. To a skiff crew with no radar and one pair of binoculars, it's easy to misjudge. And that's where the Navy plays its ace: deception through discipline. These destroyers operate under strict rules of engagement. They don't open fire because someone looks suspicious. They warn, observe, record. Every move is calculated. Every response is measured. And that's not weakness, that's control. Take this incident, for example. The destroyer didn't need missiles. It didn't even need to raise weapons. It used tools. FLIR optics, LRAD sound cannons, laser markers, and a helicopter that can hover, watch, and record. The MH-60R Seahawk in particular is a flying surveillance suite. Equipped with advanced sensors like the MX-20 FLIR system, it can spot heat signatures, identify objects, and track movement in real time. No guesswork, just data. And while the pirates were trying to intimidate, the Navy was gathering evidence. In international waters, that's critical. Any engagement must be justified, both legally and diplomatically. If a skiff had fired or even reached boarding distance, the destroyer could escalate. But until that moment, restraint rules. And when you record everything, flight paths, audio, heat signatures, you don't need to explain your side. You just press play. That's why the Navy wins these encounters without combat. Because when your enemy misjudges what you are, you'll let them find out the hard way. This wasn't a firefight, this wasn't a boarding, this was what dominance at sea looks like, without a single shot fired. The pirates came looking for a soft target. They left with their engines smoking, their pride dented, and every move they made stored on Navy hard drives. Because the U.S. Navy doesn't just win with weapons. It wins with presence, precision, and posture. Every system worked. Every crew member stayed calm. And every decision made in those 14 minutes sent a clear message. You can approach, but we're watching, and we don't blink. This time the pirates backed down, but these standoffs are happening more often and getting bolder. So here's a question. Should the Navy respond harder to incidents like this, or is restraint still the smartest weapon? Drop your take in the comments. I read every one. And if you want more video encounters like this, where navies intercept, posture, and outmaneuver threats without firing a shot, subscribe to Navy Media. And hey, if you want to go a step further and support the channel directly, please join the fleet. You get loyalty badges, priority responses, and you help us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Just go over to our channel page and click join to get on board. The next time pirates want to challenge a destroyer, they might want to check what's on the radar first. I'll see you in the next one.